Hey, Wumbo World Entertainment, and here's a story I didn't have on my bingo card. But Jim Carrey is in talks to be the lead in the live-action Jetsons movie. If you remember the Jetsons, meet George Jetson and his son Elroy and all that stuff. Yeah, they're going to do a live-action version of it from Colin Trevorrow, of all people. And they're looking at Jim Carrey to play George Jetson, the father. So, let's have a look at this, because that's interesting. And by the way, it's also interesting when you find out when the Jetsons actually came out. I grew up watching the Jetsons. I had no idea the things came out like, what was it, the 70s or something? The 60s or 70s is how old the Jetsons are. I believe it's like a 63-year-old franchise, so that's insane. I thought it was like an 80s thing when I was a kid growing up watching it. But it's saying Jim Carrey is in talks to star in The Jetsons, a live-action adaptation of the classic Hanna-Barbera cartoon being developed at Warner Brothers. Director Colin Trevorrow of Jurassic World is also in discussions to helm the project. Now, just before we go on, Colin Trevorrow, he hasn't really done much since Dominion. He did do that movie, what was it? Was it called The Book or something like that? That absolutely tanked. And the rumor was that because that absolutely tanked, that's why he was removed from Star Wars. Which later we found out it was because he was actually being the most faithful to Star Wars. And they were like, no. Which is weird when you hired him to direct Star Wars. But I don't recall him really doing. I think he might have been doing a bit of TV, actually. I'm not sure. The last major movie, anyway, I remember him being attached to was Dominion. Jurassic World Dominion. I'm pretty sure, anyway. But anyway, it's saying the project would mark another major studio collaboration for Jim Carrey, who's enjoyed renewed success through the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Carrey's turn as Dr. Ivo Robotnik helped those films earn over $1.2 billion worldwide. He's set to return in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, this time as Gerald Robotnik. What do you mean he's set to return? He returned. I mean, we was like last year. Or was it this year? Either way, it's out. Like, it's on TV at this stage, for Christ's sake. So, I think they meant he did return as opposed to he's set to return. Either way, while no casting has been confirmed, industry chatter suggests Carrey could play George Jetson, the futuristic everyman at the center of the classic sitcom. Trevorrow and writer Joe, bad name, Epstein, are reportedly developing the script. Could you imagine putting that out? Epstein's writing the Jetsons. People would be like, wait, what? The original Jetsons animated series aired on ABC in 1962 to 1963 and returned in the mid-80s for 2 additional seasons. So they're probably the ones I started to see anyway. Set in a high-tech future filled with flying cars, robot maids, and moving sidewalks, the series followed George Jetson, his wife Jane, their teenage daughter Judy, and young son Elroy. The film's loyal robot housekeeper Rosie became a pop culture icon. The 90s animated film adaptation grossed just over $20 million domestically. Warner Brothers has long explored ways to revive Hanna-Barbera properties with mixed results. I do not recall a 90s animated movie, to be honest with you. Was that a thing? Well, obviously it was a thing, but yeah, I don't ever remember hearing about that. So, it's saying the studio found success with its live-action Scooby-Doo movies in the early 2000s, and the 2 films of that earned nearly $500 million combined. Is that really a massive success? Like you're saying, they found success. The 2 movies only earned just about $500 million worldwide. I don't think you really could scream that's a massive success. So, it's saying Warner Brothers is hoping the Jetsons can capture a similar balance of nostalgia and mainstream appeal for today's audiences. Yeah, I suppose that there could be, like a newer audience could definitely be there because it's such an old property at this stage, and like it's never really shown anymore. Now, that could also be a thing where people are looking at it going like, what the hell is this? Obviously, they would probably try and update the aesthetic of it, which is interesting to say, being the fact that it was a cartoon, but you know what I mean. Like, the cars had a certain look to them, the houses had certain looks to them, the character of Rosie had a certain look to them, so how do you update that? Be a lot of CGI in it, that's one thing. So I don't think you're going to be really making this for cheap. I think it's going to be quite an expensive venture, really, to go down the road of. The likes of George Jetson, they have made him appear in other things. Most of the Jetsons, really, for like one-off comedy parts. Like, I'm pretty sure that Family Guy did something with him where he popped in and he was swearing and stuff. I'm pretty sure it was Family Guy that George Jetson showed up and stuff like that. And there's other movies where like the cartoon would show up to do something. But the overall cartoon of the Jetsons, I'm sure if you went out and asked a lot of people nowadays, hey, did you ever hear the Jetsons? They'd probably be like, the what now? Yeah. So if you start singing the theme tune to them, like Meet George Jetson, his son Elroy, and all that stuff, they'd probably be like, what are you singing now? And like, one of the most famous things that used to pop up everywhere was the sound of the car flying. The little car had this little me kind of sound when it was flying. So I think if somebody heard that noise nowadays, they might recognize it, but they're not sure where. You know, oh, that was in such and such, but wouldn't realize it was actually from the Jetsons. So the idea of Jim Carrey playing George Jetson, that could be great. And he could have some great fun with it. And it's great to see him coming back with these type of roles and stuff where he is getting... And it even says, not in this article, but it did say in others, like, this would be his first actual lead role in a major movie since, I think it was that Penguin movie. What was that called? Mr. Something and Others Pet Penguins or something. So the idea that he's starting to maybe come back, because he retired. He did basically retire and then came back for Sonic, and then looked like he was retiring again, but came back for Sonic 3, and now, of course, he's in talks for the Jetsons. So to see him come back out, and seeing him not just come back out, but successfully come back out, because I think that would have hurt his confidence had he come out of retirement, gone into Sonic, and Sonic flop. I think that would have been like, I'm done. And instead, it's gone really well, and he's gotten quite good praise for his portrayal of Robotnik in the movies as well. So now he has the confidence to get offered something like, hey, how do you feel about being the lead in the Jetsons and play George Jetson? And the fact that it sounds like he's saying yes to it, that could be really cool. So I, for one, would be interested to see, you know, this movie. Again, I grew up watching the Jetsons amongst other things. Would be curious to see who they round out the cast with. I can't remember the other characters like around the Jetsons. Just the Jetsons. So we'll wait and see who gets cast alongside him, because that'll be crucial as well. So, but it is interesting. Yeah, will they make the weird choices of making the wife like black or something? I don't think that would be a great idea, but it's modern day. But let's see what happens anyway. I'm interested. I'll see what happens with it, and I'll keep my eyes and ears open, see what news comes out on it. Let us know what you guys think of it. Would it interest you? Did any of you grow up watching the Jetsons? Let us know. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the hype button, check out the memberships, all that exclusive videos. Cheers, and catch you in the next one.